I'm going to tell you something that most dating coaches won't. Not because it's controversial, but because it requires nuance, and nuance doesn't get clicks. Women have psychological weaknesses, not flaws, not defects. Weaknesses, meaning specific emotional triggers that bypass her logical brain and speak directly to her primal wiring. Every woman you've ever met, every woman you've ever wanted, every woman who ghosted you or chose someone else has these same 9 vulnerabilities hardwired into her nervous system, and the men who understand them aren't manipulators. They're just fluent in a language that most men never bother to learn. These aren't tricks, these aren't pickup lines. These are research-backed psychological realities that explain why she chose the wrong guy over you, why she melts for certain men and freezes for others, and why your nice guy strategy keeps backfiring despite your best intentions. Here are the 9 weaknesses, and if you understand even 3 of them deeply, you will never look at dating the same way again. Weakness number 1, she cannot resist selective attention. This is the most counterintuitive weakness on the list, and the one that destroys the most nice guys. Women are psychologically wired to value attention that is earned over attention that is given freely. When you shower her with compliments, reply to every text instantly, and make yourself available every hour of every day, you are not showing devotion. You are showing that your attention has no value because it has no scarcity. Psychologist Robert Cialdini documented this in his research on the scarcity principle. Humans assign higher value to resources that are limited. When your attention is unlimited, she treats it like tap water, essential but unremarkable. When your attention is selective, when you're fully present on a date but don't text her for 2 days after she treats it like champagne. Same liquid, different bottle, wildly different perceived value. The weakness is that she knows this is irrational. She knows the guy who texts back immediately is probably more reliable, but her nervous system doesn't care about reliability. It cares about the dopamine spike that comes from uncertainty. She cannot help chasing the attention she hasn't fully secured yet. Weakness number 2, she melts for controlled vulnerability. Every dating coach tells men to be vulnerable, but raw, unfiltered vulnerability, crying about your ex on date 2, trauma dumping about your childhood, repels her. What attracts her is controlled vulnerability, a man who reveals one layer at a time, strategically, demonstrating that he has depth without drowning her in it. Dr. Brené Brown's research on vulnerability found that it builds trust and connection, but only when it's reciprocal and gradual. If you reveal everything at once, you overwhelm her empathy circuits. If you reveal nothing, she reads you as emotionally unavailable. The sweet spot, the weakness, is the slow reveal. 1 real story per date, 1 moment of honesty per week. Enough to make her feel she's earning your trust, not enough to make her your therapist. Her weakness is that she becomes addicted to the next layer. She keeps coming back because she needs to know what's underneath. You become a book she can't put down, not because every page is dramatic, but because each chapter ends with a question she has to answer. Weakness number 3, she is defenseless against ambient masculinity. Not performed masculinity, not the gym selfie or the flexed bicep or the aggressive confidence. Ambient masculinity, the kind that exists without being displayed, the way you hold a door without announcing it, the way you order food without hesitation, the way you touch the small of her back while guiding her through a crowd, so naturally that she doesn't even realize you did it until she replays the moment at home. Evolutionary psychologist David Buss documented that women across 37 cultures consistently ranked confidence and social presence above physical attractiveness and mate selection. But confidence isn't what most men think it is. It's not loudness. It's not dominance displays. It's the quiet certainty that you belong in every room you walk into. The way you sit, the way you speak without rushing, the way you hold eye contact 1 second longer than comfortable. Her weakness is that she cannot fake her response to this. Her pupils dilate, her breathing changes, her body angles toward you before her brain has processed why. Ambient masculinity bypasses her critical thinking entirely and speaks directly to her limbic system. Weakness number 4, she craves controlled unpredictability. Women in 2026 are drowning in predictable men. The guy who texts "Good morning, beautiful" every day at 8 a.m., the guy who suggests dinner at the same Italian place every Friday. The guy whose entire personality can be summarized in 3 dates. Predictability is safe, and safety is important, but safety without surprise is a sedative. Her weakness is controlled unpredictability. The sense that you are stable enough to be safe, but complex enough to be surprising. You remember her coffee order, but take her to a jazz bar she'd never choose herself. You text consistently, but occasionally go silent for a day and come back with a photo of a sunset you thought she'd like. You are reliable in your presence, but unpredictable in your expression. Research on dopamine and novelty seeking, particularly from Dr. Wolfram Schultz at Cambridge, confirms that the brain releases more dopamine in response to unpredicted rewards than predictable ones. The anticipated reward creates satisfaction. The unexpected reward creates obsession. She becomes addicted not because you're always there, but because she never quite knows how you'll show up. Weakness number 5. She surrenders to emotional safety, wrapped in physical danger. This is the paradox that most men never understand. She wants to feel physically overwhelmed and emotionally protected at the same time. She wants you to be the most dangerous person in the room to everyone else, and the safest person in the room to her. She wants the wolf who is a puppy only for her. Her weakness is the contrast. When a physically imposing man speaks softly to her, when a man with a commanding presence holds her gently, when a man who could lose his temper chooses patience, her brain processes this as supreme self-control. And self-control is the ultimate aphrodisiac because it signals genetic quality. He is strong enough to be dangerous but disciplined enough to be safe. She didn't choose the bad boy because she wanted chaos. She chose him because the contrast between his edge and his tenderness created a cocktail of attraction that the safe guy could never replicate. Weakness number 6. She cannot resist a man who walks away. Not storming off in anger, not ghosting, not the silent treatment. The calm, dignified, non-reactive withdrawal of a man who recognizes his value is not being met. Psychologist Jack Brem called this reactance theory. When a freedom is taken away or threatened, humans desire it more intensely. When a man walks away without drama, without begging, without negotiation, he activates her reactance response. She suddenly feels the loss of something she didn't know she valued. His absence becomes louder than his presence ever was. Her weakness is that she cannot override this response. Logically, she might think, good riddance. But psychologically, at 2 a.m. when she's staring at the ceiling, she's thinking, why didn't he fight for me? Why did he just leave? Was I not enough? And that question, was I not enough, will eat her alive for weeks. Not because she loved you, but because her ego cannot accept that someone left without being destroyed by the loss. Weakness number 7. She is addicted to being understood without explaining. We covered this briefly in the Dirty Secrets video, but here's the deeper layer. Her weakness isn't that she wants you to read her mind. Her weakness is that she equates being understood with being loved. If she has to explain her emotions, she feels alone. If you can anticipate them, she feels known. And feeling known is the most intoxicating drug in female psychology. When she says, if you loved me, you'd know, she's not being unreasonable. She's expressing a deep neurological need for attunement. Dr. John Gottman's research on successful couples found that emotional attunement, the ability to recognize and respond to a partner's emotional bids without explicit instruction, was the single strongest predictor of relationship satisfaction. Not communication, not shared interests, attunement. Her weakness is that the man who notices she's having a bad day before she says anything, who brings her tea because her shoulders are tense, who turns the music down because he can see she has a headache, that man becomes irreplaceable in her nervous system. She will forgive almost anything from a man who makes her feel seen without having to perform vulnerability. Weakness number 8. She bonds through shared suffering. This is the one no one talks about. The fastest way to create deep, unbreakable emotional bonds with a woman is not through pleasure, it's through shared adversity. Research on misattribution of arousals by Dutton and Aaron 1974, the famous shaky bridge experiment, found that couples who experienced anxiety-inducing situations together reported significantly higher levels of attraction than couples who shared calm experiences. Her nervous system confuses the adrenaline of shared stress with the adrenaline of attraction. Getting caught in a rainstorm together, navigating a chaotic travel delay together, surviving a terrible dinner party together, these moments bond her to you more powerfully than 100 perfect candlelit dinners. Her weakness is that she mistake bonds. She attaches to the man who is there during the hard times, regardless of whether he's the right man. This is why she stays with partners who aren't good for her, because the suffering they endured together created a chemical bond that logic cannot dissolve. If you want her to feel bonded to you, you don't create chaos. You navigate it together when it naturally appears. Weakness number 9. She falls for the man who doesn't need her. This is the final weakness, and it is the foundation upon which all the others rest. She is instinctively, unavoidably, neurologically attracted to the man who has a life so full, so purposeful, so demanding that she has to earn her place in it. Not because he's cold, not because he's playing games, but because his attention is genuinely scarce, his time is genuinely valuable, and his identity is not built around having a girlfriend. Self-determination theory, developed by DC and Ryan, found that humans are most attracted to relationships where they feel autonomous choice rather than obligation. When a man needs her, she feels trapped. When a man wants her but doesn't need her, she feels chosen. And the feeling of being chosen by a man who has options, who has purpose, who would be perfectly fine without her, is the most addictive emotional state she can experience. Her weakness is that she cannot resist proving herself to a man who doesn't require proof. She will work harder, text first more often, plan better dates, and invest more emotional energy into a man who genuinely might not choose her than she ever would into a man who has already given her everything. It's not fair, it's not logical, but it is the fundamental operating system of female attraction. So what do you do with all of this? You do not weaponize it. You do not use these weaknesses to manipulate her into staying with a man who isn't worthy of her. You use them to understand the game you're already playing, whether you realize it or not. Every interaction you have with a woman is activating or deactivating these triggers. The question isn't whether to use them. The question is whether you're going to use them consciously and ethically, or stumble through them blindly and wonder why she chose someone else. You deserve to understand the playing field. You deserve to stop guessing why she lost interest, why she chose him, or why she said you were perfect but never called again. Drop weakness in the comments if this changed how you see dating. Or drop which number hit you hardest. I'll reply and break down how to apply it to your specific situation. Stop playing a game you don't understand. Start learning the rules she already knows by heart.